You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR LP, Round Lake Heights, Illinois.
Welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, David Mierswa is a leading trial attorney bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to you. The Dave Mierswa Show,
you can't hear the headphones?
for the
Just
people,
jiggle that.
bringing justice to the people. The Dave Mierswa Show, its guests, agents,
What do you
and
expect?
WRLR are not rendering any legal advice. All listeners are encouraged to seek legal advice from properly licensed and qualified professionals.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today? Actually, it's once again good afternoon. Let me turn down my microphone here. And I got kind of a loud jaw here and jawboning. For you youngsters, that means talking. So, welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show. I'm your host, Attorney Dave Mierswa. I've been an attorney for almost 20 years. That's right, I'm your elder, I'm your senior. But I bring you cutting edge topics, and I got to say good afternoon to everyone. And I got a really special guest here that we're going to see what happens and where this plays out. I'll introduce her in just a couple seconds here. And I wanted to, first of all, give a shout out to Milwaukee. And in specific, what happened last night. If you've been living on Mars, there was another shooting that happens every day, 50 times over here in Chicago. But a shout out to all the people in Milwaukee. And also yesterday had a family reunion on my wife's side, so a big thank you and a big shout out to them. I actually had a great time with my in-laws. So before I get started, that little giggle you heard is a really special guest, and she is special. Do you want to introduce yourself? I always forget your name.
Oh, it happens a lot. I don't know why. No, I'm Peggy Busini. We are colleagues in the law/library world, and that's how I met you. And you were one of my patrons at the law library.
One of the only people that was actually nice to you,
me.
Peggy. I looked, and it was like a hurt little deer during hunting season.
Yeah.
Or a poor animal that got ran over by a big truck.
Yes.
And it'd take that much and to feel sympathy, and I did.
Yes.
And then
Shockingly, you did.
So Peggy, I wanted to welcome you back to my show.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
It's an honor and privilege to have you back on. Peggy was on last week, and let's do this. Let's get into my shout outs. Also, all of my previous shows are at my website, law540.com, law540.com. I've been up since 4:30 a.m., 6 cups of coffee.
Oh, my.
So I'm fired up, and I was listening to talk shows today coming in and out of the Milwaukee area. So I am fired up today, and we'll see where the show goes. But let me get the shout-outs out of the way here. So again, my mission statement, the show about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. That's what the show's all about. And anyone who knows me, for you listeners just tuning in, I have dedicated my life for animal rescue. And there are 2 entities here, Reach Rescue out of Mundelein, and they are a non-for-profit rescue center. And then also right next door is a resale shop, and they are non-for-profit, so pretty cool.
That's good.
And then Save a Pet, which is here on Fairfield Road in Grays Lake. So if you're bored and want to get out and actually do something with your life today and feel a little proud and maybe get in there and mix it up a little bit, why don't you go donate some time over at Save a Pet? Better yet, donate some money, some time, and save an animal. So anyway, okay, and then a big shout out to all my in-laws up and around Chippewa Falls. So a big thank you to them. Again, I had a really great time. So Peggy.
Yes.
So welcome back to the Dave Mierswa Show. You are brave.
Oh.
I gotta say, you are brave for coming back.
Oh, listen, I've experienced much more dangerous things But
Wait. Let me say, you experience much more dangerous things than coming on the Dave Mierswa show?
yes, actually, every day, running a library and stuff, and experiencing different types of people and stuff. You just you get a hard shell.
That's true. You
Yeah.
worked at a library that was full of lawyers.
Yep.
I got a few other acronyms we'll
I
call
know.
them, but you know what? Church just got out,
I know.
and kids are running around.
Exactly. So
And
we'll
this
be
is
good.
public radio.
Yes, we'll be really good. Yes, very
So-
good about it. But yes,
So let's, Peggy, before we get into the next show, do you want to read some PSAs? And for you listeners, that's public service announcements.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how you do.
okay. Well, Manpower in Waukegan is hosting an upcoming hiring event. One's this Wednesday, the 17th of August, from 9:30 in the morning till noon, and the 2 weeks from then, the 31st of August, same time, 9:30 in the morning till noon. They'll be looking for warehouse order pickers, team assemblers, and many other opportunities like that. Before you go to the actual event, they ask that you create an account on www.manpowerjobs.com. And when you go to the things, Wednesday the 17th of August and Wednesday the 31st of August, bring an updated resume, an employment ID, high school verifications, and it's going to be located at 1501 South White Oak Drive in Waukegan, 60085. You don't have to call or anything, just show up with your information.
Right, and here's another thing. If you got long hair, get a haircut.
Oh, yeah.
And this is coming from me, a little advice. So, if you got real long hair, get a haircut and, style it a little bit.
Yeah.
Make sure you update your resume and then wear a clean shirt.
Yes.
The basics.
Take a bath.
Yeah, that I thought that went without saying, but
Well,
coming back from Wisconsin,
you never know.
I came out of a few, I had to gas up because it's like 20 hours up to Chippewa Falls on
Exactly,
Chicago. And
yeah.
some of the guys, the first thought in my mind was, dude, take a bath and shave.
Yeah. They don't know. Sometimes those people up there don't know what razors are, but that's okay.
Yeah, I love Wisconsin. I grew up in Wisconsin, folks, so calm down. I'm a Cheesehead and Packer fan. So, all right, what's the next PSA? Good job on the first one.
The PSA, the second one is the Shepherd of the Lakes Lutheran Church. They're having a health, safety, and wellness fair on Saturday, October 10th from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. You can get in there and get some blood pressure checks, some flu shots, diabetes and cholesterol screening, and there's also a blood drive, and there's also the youth sports physicals.
The Utes?
Youths, yeah, no. What's a youth? No, no, the youth sports physicals. I used to get those when I'm 105 years old, but I used to get the physicals for.
Peggy, you're looking fantastic for 105.
Thank you.
Wow.
But yeah, but
You impressed me this morning.
but we used to get it for $20 or $25. They do a general physical check for athletes for high school and actually junior high now too. But they do nice physicals for kids so then they can participate in their sports in school. So the Grace Lake Fire Department is providing activities for all ages during this time of the Shepherd of the Lakes Lutheran Church Health, Safety, and Wellness Fair. So
Okay.
it's located at 285 Washington in Grace Lake. That's a half mile west of Route 83 on Washington Street. And, if you need more information, go to the website at www.shepherdoftheLakes.org.
Okay, and then what date was that again? Because I was.
I was talking, I know.
No, that's why we brought you on, Peggy, because you like to
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah. Now, Saturday, September 10th, from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
Okay, let's light these on fire.
Okay.
So, Bish will come running in, and he'll see some flames out of the studio here. So we'll light up the lights here.
Here we go.
Okay, so I again, I'm not going to get into what happened in Milwaukee. Next week, I'm going to tackle what happened in Milwaukee. And I am a Wisconian. And I tell you, I'm going to dive right into that topic next Sunday at 12 noon. You better believe it. And I'm going to have in-your-face statistics. I'm going to have in-your-face facts. And I'm going to separate the fiction from the facts of what is going on in these inner cities. You may not like it, but facts are facts, okay? And if anyone, anytime, any of your friends and listeners out there, if you want to come on my show and you want to debate me on some of the topics that you find that you have an adverse opinion, you are more than welcome to. And let me tell you, folks, you buckle in and we're going to have a lot of fun. All right, also, I wanted to spend 2 minutes here before we get into the topic. The topic today, I know everyone's getting nervous as to what we're going to talk about today, because if I lived in Round Lake here and tuned into the Dave Mierswa show, I would be nervous. But today, in about 2 minutes, we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton health issues. Not health care, but we're actually going to talk about her personal, physical, and mental health issues, okay? And again, the left entertainment media ain't gonna touch this with a 30-foot pole. But the Dave Mierswa show, along with Peggy Buccini, is gonna cover this. Okay, but you know, here's what's going on out in the world of politics. Of course, with the show, you know, we're about 86 days, I believe, to the next election, something like that. So we are less than 90 days out, folks, to where this country is either going to go more into the dumps or we're going to turn it around. And if you feel that this country is being ran so excellent, then again, you know, I welcome you to come on my show. And then, you know, we're going to debate the facts from fiction of what's going on. But anyway, I wasn't a huge Trump supporter, but here's what Trump stands for. Secure borders, wants to build a wall. He wants to rebuild the military, wants to bring education back to the states, wants to repeal Common Core, wants to go for energy independence. And here's the kicker for me that brought me into the Trump camp. Wants to appoint very conservative judges, not active judges. Wants to cut federal taxes. You know, this is huge. My only other problem is he doesn't want to cut spending, but he does want to cut taxes. So there's a little controversy. Wants to reduce federal government, wants to repeal and replace, not just get rid of Obamacare, but repeal it and replace it with something a lot better. There were some good things that I liked in Obamacare. One of them was the prerequisites, the pre-existing phenomena, and that was one of the few good things that I got to give hats off to Obamacare. All right, and then also, as I am not afraid, as well as a lot of conservative talk show hosts, as well as Donald Trump, we are not afraid to define our enemy. And I should say one of the enemies that hate the United States, and we're not going to placate to one of the world's enemies, radical Islamic terrorism. So folks, you hear me say that over and over again. Also, Trump, if you are a Second Amendment supporter in any way or fashion, you got to vote for Donald Trump. Also, I don't know how far he's going to get on this, but he's going to renegotiate. This is kind of his tagline, how far he'll get. But at least he's going to try to fight. He wants to bring back jobs, renegotiate some of these treaties that have just basically raped America of all of our manufacturing jobs throughout America. So, any of your listeners, you want to come in and talk about all of the successes of Hillary, and you want to talk about Obama-Hillary third term, hey, I will have you in, and we'll have a fireworks show. So let's get back to topic at hand. Sorry, Peggy.
That's okay. That's perfect.
Educate the listeners that I want to get back on message what Trump is about and all this other stuff that, every time he opens his mouth. Look, we already know Trump's got a big mouth. He's going to put his foot in his mouth. And the left entertainment media, they are not covering issues. And why is that?
Well, because it's called diversion. As
Thank
long
you.
as you're looking somewhere else,
Right.
at what looks like a fool in Trump, then we disregard what's really going on the left, which is
Correct.
happening every day, all day. It's sickening, actually. And anyone on the media is going to be handily ready to bring Trump down and say, oh yeah, just to avoid the real issues.
You know, and Peggy, when you said it, it's kind of sickening. What part of like the left entertainment media is kind of making you sick, or what's so outrageous?
Everything is so dark and depressing on the news. I can't watch TV anymore with any news on or anything about current issues because it is so contrived and it is so dark. It makes me it just makes me sick.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of funny that's what they want to do. They want to turn off conservative people. Mm-hmm. And they're not only attacking Trump, now they're attacking conservative voters.
Yes.
And I tell you, you know, the listeners and friends out there, I started this radio show to educate people on a lot of different topics and legal. And, you know, one of them also is, you know, the left and the right. And you have to decide where you want this country to go. And to me, the biggest issue out of all this is appointment of Supreme Court justices.
Oh, yeah.
And folks, you know, if you want this country to go liberal and become social and almost communist, you know, feel free to vote for Hillary. But if you want your kids, if you got children and you want your children to actually have an afterthought and have freedom, I suggest you better rethink who's going to put in somewhat conservative judges in the Supreme Court. And a thought for the day. So, Peggy, let's get into the main topic. You know, again, you know, there's so many things to talk about, and almost 20 minutes has gone by today. Just
wow. Well,
it goes quick.
You know what? Before we go
Yeah.
any further, you're just talking about Supreme Court justices. I saw this little thing on Facebook yesterday.
Facebook.
Six words that'll scare you to death. Supreme Court Justice. Wait. Supreme Court Justice Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh, okay.
Because if Mrs. Clinton gets in as the president, she could appoint him as Supreme Court Justice.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, we've got liberals all over the Supreme Court already, and he would be the fifth vote.
Right.
And then perhaps any federal charges that she might come under, he'd be like, oh, it's okay, or, you know, something like that. Or, I mean, does that just
you know,
out?
You know, it's funny too. I've read some articles, and President Obama joked about, you know, I'd make a great third termer, and I tell you, folks, that if he could, he would.
I'm sure.
And but there's little sparks of radio shows like Today and Freedom that prevent that. And like I said, folks, you know, there's a lot of hardcore people on the left. I'm not going to change their minds. Just like on the right, I'm not going to change their minds. But you know, one of the things, Peggy, you know, we'll spend another couple minutes on this, is I find it despicable that a lot of these, you know, so-called old vanguard Republicans, where, yeah, I'm going to do the pledge and all that, and then when things turned against them, they made all the excuses, like the liberal media in the left, to turn tail and break all the pledges, and then they would rather see Hillary Clinton get in the office than help out Donald Trump, because then they think, well, in 4 years the Republican Party can patch. But let me tell you, you know, these old vanguards, you know, the Bushes and all this, you know, they don't get it. They don't get it that the rest of Americans are sick and tired of these, you know, political families and all these insiders. And the left media just wants to blaze over it. And they are underestimating that how smart Americans are now.
Right.
And, you know, all these commercials like saying, oh, Donald Trump doesn't stand a chance. Oh, Hillary's up 15 points.
I heard that.
You know, and that's a crock of poo.
Yeah.
You know, a crock of poo.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And, you know, don't believe it for 1 minute. And, you know, and again, and if you're listening to just CNN or MSNBC and all that, you know, then I know where you stand voting and, you know, whatever. And, but anyway, let's get into the most interesting topic. is Hillary Clinton's actual physical and mental health condition and health issues. And a lot of people are like, what are you talking about?
Right, people don't know about it.
Yeah.
It's not publicized at all.
This topic has not been approached by MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, what are some other...
CBS, all the big networks.
Yeah.
BBC, nothing. I mean, I love the BBC, but
Yeah,
anyway.
they cover more world events, but
They do.
this topic has not been covered by any of, again, the left entertainment media. And, folks, too, you go to my website, Law 540, about 2 months ago, I did a show on the death of journalism. And interesting, because there is no more true journalism out there. I had previous journalism majors out there, and they taught what it was like to be independent, fair, and balanced. And, like what you said, you turn on any news and you're just sickened by, the line.
And the darkness and just the whole, bringing out all the bad parts of human nature.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and well, if you decide after I don't scare you off this Sunday, if you want to come on next Sunday, we're going to shine light and a lot of these, scary topics of like what's going on in Milwaukee and race relations, and so we'll get into that next Sunday. So let me play my first audio clip. It's like 22 minutes has gone by.
Oh wow!
And usually my first audio clip is by 12:08.
Oh wow!
So hey, a big shout out there to Bish. He just walked in the studio. So
Hi, Bish.
yeah, so he's I think he's ignoring us. That's all right. Wouldn't be the first time he ignores my show. So all right, let me play the first audio clip, Peggy, and then we'll talk about it. If my computer doesn't get a virus here and melt down. All right, so hang in here a second.
Hey.
Even in the raucous Kennedy clan, even among his 8 brothers and sisters, Jack stood out.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Bish, this is Peggy.
Peggy, nice
Peggy
to meet
Bish.
you. How you doing?
He's one of the fearless leaders around
Asked to
here.
test
Yeah,
the patient's
fearless, all right.
physical and
Hey, that's not your car or your car. Yeah, you better move that. That's a
Oh, the
police
cop?
Yeah.
Oh,
they'll ticket you.
yeah, you gotta move it.
Oh, yeah, move that. They'll ticket you there. Yeah.
Okay.
Bish, can you let her,
Out by the village hall.
Jack would
Over there?
expect
Yeah,
maids
where those
to
cars are.
take care of
can you
him,
let her back in?
cook
Yeah,
his meals,
Thank you.
do his laundry.
Thanks,
I was
Bish.
just looking at it and say, oh.
Yeah.
So he had a very privileged childhood, except for one thing, that he is burdened by a series of considerable health problems. Jack almost died of scarlet fever in 1920, just before his 3rd birthday. 2 years later, a case of whooping cough landed him in another quarantine ward. Soon after, his parents shipped him off to a prestigious boarding school in Connecticut. Jack's letters home began to include reports of his shaky health. At Choate, Jack's ongoing digestive ailments made him a reliable customer of the campus infirmary. Joe Sr. worried that Jack might take on the image of someone who lacked the physical strength to achieve great things in life. By the time he was 17 years old, his health was so questionable, they sent him off to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, to try and figure out what his problems were. When his blood count dropped to near fatal readings, he made light. "They call me 2,000 to go Kennedy," he wrote a friend. "Took a peek at my chart yesterday and could see that they were mentally measuring me for a coffin."
He never stops joking and laughing, even in the worst circumstances.
Got
He had
about
to become
40
very stoic,
seconds before
and
we
at
go
the
back
same
up.
time he had to project
I forgot to tell you.
an image of vitality.
I'll go meet the chief.
So although he was
Sure, nice.
feeling
They're a little
really low at
territorial.
the time, he couldn't
I don't
let
blame
on
him.
he was feeling
If I was a
poorly.
cop, I'd ticket everyone.
Joe Sr. refuse to lower expectations.
So I'm doing
for a
a
second son,
audio
whatever his illness.
on JFK
Don't let me lose
and all
confidence in
his
you again.
medical issues.
Joe wrote to Jack
He had,
after a less than
court-
sterling
no, he
report
had,
from the headmaster at Choate,
Edison's
because it will be
Yeah,
nearly
yeah,
an
a bunch of
impossible
stuff.
task to restore it.
plus Dr. Feelgood.
Joe Kennedy Sr. drives this point home to his sons. Joe Kennedy's message to them
Can
is,
you hear it?
second is
Okay.
never good enough. Only first, only winning, only being at the top.
All right, that was the first audio clip today, and if you just tuned in and you just got up today and you're getting your first cup of Java, you just tuned into the Dave Mierswa show, and I got a special guest today, Peggy Busini. Hey, I'm getting that quick.
I'm liking it. Yes.
So, and today's topic is Hillary Clinton's mental and physical health issues, not healthcare issues, but her personal healthcare and mental issues. I just played the first audio clip, Peggy, on JFK.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, a lot of the M generation don't even know who JFK is. Google it. That's John F. Kennedy, who was president from, what is it, 64, 68?
Well, no, he was killed.
No, 60, yeah, right, 60 to 63.
60
right.
to 63.
Right, so the first 4 years in the 60s
Yes.
decade. And he had such an array of medical issues. And from what I read, that, all of it was covered up.
Oh,
And
yes.
because of the Cold War, and you got to remember, during the Kennedy administration, he was headlong into, and we just came out of the Cuban Missile Crisis,
Yes.
where we came so close to nuclear war. That's actually a good topic. I should actually talk on a future show. Let me write that down.
Yep, Cuban Missile Crisis is
Yeah.
huge.
Let me write that down. Cuban Missile Crisis,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna do a show on Cuba where they stand today. Okay, so
Cool.
that's why, folks, one of the strategies, like if you're trying to brainstorm and stuff while you're talking and stuff, you write down little things like that, and so there's another show for you. But JFK, during the Cold War of the 60s, before he was unfortunately assassinated,
Yes.
and the trauma that went through the Kennedy family, and in America too, at that time, and race relations were so bad. And,
Yes, terrible.
and I wasn't born until 67. I got to tell you a quick story before we revert back to JFK. My mom told me that there were riots going on, anti-Vietnam riots, going on by University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, and I was born, and my parents had to drive through a rioting crowd.
Wow.
And she rolled down the window and started yelling that I'm trying to make it to the hospital, I'm having a child. And then, for some reason, the crowd moved away. She was able to get to the hospital.
Maybe they knew you were coming.
Yeah, you never know, but isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting.
My mom told me that. And of course, she said my dad froze.
Oh, well, okay.
But I'm no reflection upon my dad, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, my dad's deceased, so he's turning over in his grave. But anyway, miss you, Dad, still.
Yeah.
I don't want to think people that I'm too cold here.
Oh, no.
But so JFK, and very interesting. And then, let's see, but we got about 2 minutes here before we have to go to break. Let me pay, I don't pay anyone, they pay me. Let me play Hillary Clinton and her issues, and this is MSNBC. So let me play this next audio clip.
She will now recognize the gentlelady from the Alabama, Miss Rhodey.
Secretary Clinton, I want to follow up on questions about the night of the attack and decisions made then. You wrote in your book, Hard Choices, that you were directing the State Department response the night of September 11th, 2012, but you also stated that you left your office on the night of the attacks and went to...
All right, that was a Benghazi clip.
Oh,
So,
okay.
let's do this. Peggy, I appreciate you having I would say, the strength And what else did you say? The Fearless.
There we go.
The comeback on my show. Let me do this. I got a 51-second clip here about Hillary, and so let me get that in before break. So let me cue this up.
Hillary Clinton's 2012 health episode, animated. Karl Rove recently said that Hillary Clinton's health problems in 2012 might have bearing on a future presidential run by the former First Lady. Here's a recap of the event in question. In December 2012, Hillary Clinton became dehydrated while suffering from a stomach flu and fainted. She fell and sustained a concussion. Clinton stayed in hospital for 3 days while doctors removed a blood clot from a vein in her brain. However, Clinton suffered from residual double vision for a short time after the fall, requiring her to wear a corrective lens. A temporary plastic adhesive Fresnel prism was stuck to Clinton's glasses, correcting her double vision. Clinton staff has responded to Rove's assertions by saying that her health is, quote, 100%.
All right, I bet you friends and listeners out there never heard that one before.
No, I'm sure they haven't. I mean, I'm not a news junkie, but I do tune into the news, and I've never heard that.
Yeah, so
No idea.
that is leading up till after the break. Peggy, you have been in the hot seat. You've been doing great. You read PSAs, and you had to fly out of the studio here for a second to go move your car to avoid a ticket. And usually a big shout out to all the first responders around Round Lake. So a big thank you to them and all the...
Welcome to the Dave Mierswa Show, the cutting-edge talk show about legal, political, and current issues. Practicing in both Wisconsin and Illinois, David Mierswa is the leading trial attorney, bringing nearly 2 decades of business law, family law, personal injury, and estate planning experience to you. The Dave Mierswa Show, about the people, for the people, and bringing justice to the people. The Dave Mierswa Show, its guests, agents, and WRLR are not rendering any legal advice. All listeners are encouraged to seek legal advice from properly licensed and qualified professionals.
Welcome back to the Dave Mierswa Show. I'm your host, Attorney Dave Mierswa, and I have a co-host and friend on today, Peggy Busini. Peggy, how are you doing after break?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful.
Yeah, sometimes, even the hosts and the DJs need to take a 2-minute break from all this. But you know what? Let's get right into it. I got about 20 minutes left in the show here. So let me play next audio clip. This is an audio clip from Sean Hannity talking about Hillary's health issues. You guessed it, folks. The cutting edge topic today, the in-your-face topic today, is Hillary Clinton's health and mental and physical health issues. Not healthcare, but her own personal healthcare issues that a lot of the left entertainment media aren't going to cover. And for you out in YouTube land, enjoy this next audio clip.
Hillary Clinton recently posted to the website The American Mirror is sparking new controversy for the Clinton campaign. Now, the picture, which shows Hillary Clinton apparently needing assistance to climb a flight of stairs at a campaign stop back in February, was picked up by the Drudge Report, which posted this headline over the weekend, detailing Hillary Clinton's history with falls and speculating that the former Secretary of State could be experiencing a serious undisclosed medical condition. Earlier today, we reached out to the Clinton campaign for a statement, and a spokesman told us that the Drudge Report is shameful, and anyone who buys into that vitriol, including yours truly, is shameful as well. So shameful we are. Anyway, what was noticeably missing from the statement was any reference or rebuttal to the health issues that are alleged by Drudge and others. Joining us now with analysis from the Fox News Medical A team, we have Fox News medical correspondent Dr. Mark Siegel, and Dr. David Samadi is with us. All right. Well, it's in the Daily Mail. Are Hillary's health problems more severe than thought? A new book is coming out that claims that. The Gateway Pundit had today Hillary's handler carrying a diazepam pen for patients who experience recurrent seizures. When you look at her history, Dr. Siegel, of falling, concussions, the blood clots, etc., and then there's other video that has emerged. What are your thoughts?
I think the public has a right to know. Number one, we're talking in 2008, Sean. I looked over 1,000 pages of John McCain's records because of a melanoma he had had 10 years before. What about Hillary? 2009, a severe fall. She breaks an elbow. 2011, she boards a plane, falls. 2012, she has a severe concussion, which Bill Clinton says it took her 6 months to recover from. Then she ends up with a blood clot on the brain. She's on lifetime blood thinners. Just the point alone, if she's prone to falling, and you see from our picture up there that it looks like she can barely get upstairs without two people carrying her. Guess what? If she falls and hits her head, she'll get a blood clot.
What did you think? Just out of fairness, I don't want to show the video, but I've asked both of you to look at the video where she seems to like. Some have said it's like a mini seizure. What does it look like to you?
It looks to me, I'm also concerned about this concussion she had in 2012. It could be a post-concussion syndrome. You know, your balance is off, you're dizzy all the time, your memory is off, you're not thinking clearly. Maybe that's what she meant this week when she talked about that glitch she had with Chris Wallace. Maybe she just can't
When she says she's short-circuited.
Right.
Well, also, and it's not just that, she doesn't give a lot of press conferences. She doesn't want to seem to put herself in high-pressure situations.
I want to know what her neurologist says. I've reached out to her neurologist at Columbia after she had that fall, no comment. I want to know what her neurological records show.
And you think, as you have done this with John McCain and other presidential candidates, obviously John McCain is older, you think it's fair game, especially if people see that some things seem a little off.
Not just fair game, just the point alone that she's on blood thinners and seems to be prone to fall.
Why would you need blood
thinners when she's in the White House?
Is there a possibility she had a mini stroke, a TIA?
Absolutely.
What do you think, Doctor? You believe that?
Well, you know, the picture that you showed as she's going up the stairs speaks a million words. So is she really fatigued? Is she dehydrated? One of the main reasons why she fell in 2012 and had the concussion was severe dehydration. They're holding her and going up the stairs, so she may be really dehydrated, she may have arthritis, she may have back pain, she may have fallen again that we don't know. So there are a lot more questions that's unanswered. What we know today is that she is on thyroid medications. She suffers from hypothyroid or low thyroid that can cause some fatigueness and gaining weight and all of that.
What about this photo that the Gateway Pundit had up today, Jim Hoft, in an article, and you know, Hillary's handler, I guess, was a diazepam pen. What would that be for?
So one of the things that happens after having concussion, usually within a year or so, you should all the symptoms should resolve. Occasionally you have a latent or delayed kind of post-concussion syndromes, and seizure
like
is one of
traumatic
those.
head issues for football players.
Exactly what it is, and that can come years down the road. She may have some of these symptoms.
You think that's what you're seeing?
Well, I certainly think that a traumatic brain injury with symptoms down the road is very, very likely here, especially since she had a blood clot on her brain, and as David was mentioning, that can actually lead to a seizure problem. Someone's carrying a pen that you would use in the case of a seizure, a Valium pen, that makes me wonder about that. We need to see her records to see what's the sequelae.
They want Donald Trump's tax. There's two things we want from her. We want her speeches to Wall Street and the medical records in full.
In full. I mean, Donald Trump eating fast food is nothing compared to this. Bill Clinton ate fast food in the White House.
That's
President Bush told me in the White House he couldn't stay away from the pastry chef.
Well, the other thing.
And look at him now.
All right, I got a break, but all right, so something to follow. People should pay attention. All right, Thank you both. Coming up, very important question of the day.
So Peggy, pretty interesting. That was audio clip from Sean Hannity, because the rest of the talk shows are afraid to cover it. And this is going to be posted to YouTube. So Peggy, what's your input after hearing that audio?
It's shocking. Okay, you know, as a librarian, coming from a librarian standpoint, they just broke like 1 million HIPAA laws, because her medical records are hers, and they shouldn't be broadcasting all this. Now, you know, we're looking for transparency within our government. We're trying to do it, but every time, it seems that every time we try to do it, it gets darker and darker, more opaque, and it's kind of scary. But yeah, the HIPAA laws have been violated by people knowing her records, and yeah, we want our tax records to be known, and health records. We want to make sure everyone's okay to be able to do the job and everything, but it's very invasive, and she's not, I mean, the way Hannity makes it sound, she's ready to fall over, you know. And
did you get a chance to see some of those videos?
Yes, I did. And now that it's been pointed out that she's a bit lethargic and that there are some late reactions to things, or I saw one with a coughing spell where she couldn't stop the cough.
Yeah.
They said there's been a long nagging cough with her for a long time. you know, there's a lot of things going on now. You know, we can make a million assumptions, but with health issues like this, you know, trying to run a country, I'm not sure, you know, her health may be able to stand that. It's scary.
She started attacking Trump as being unfit, both, you know, mentally and physically. And, you know, and this goes to a broader issue is, you know, does the public have a right to see private records of a presidential candidate?
Right.
And, you know, does the public safety of the United States and all of its, what are we, 300 million citizens and probably another 300 million undocumented, you know, it is her right to privacy versus our security and right to know full disclosure.
Exactly.
And, you know, she just released her tax records and was harping on Trump to release his tax records. And I say this, you know, Hillary, why don't you release your Wall Street records as well as your medical records? You know, you want to apply pressure to Trump, then, you know, with all the medical things that is going on, you know, one of the questions I have as a person who is going to defend me from harm from either inside threats or outside threats in the United States is, does she have the mental and actual physical stamina to be the president of the United States and to put up with all that, the pressure? And I admit right now that I wouldn't want to be president of the United States. So, you know, with all the undue pressure and all that, but, you know, her physical status is huge.
Just like any other president before her, you know, there is tremendous pressure, and you can look and see just how, like if you've seen pictures of Barack Obama from his first day in office till now, the dude's gone totally gray. He's weathered, he's worn. Bush was the same way. I mean, everyone gets weathered in this position. And if someone walks in with an pre-existing illness,
that you don't know about,
right? It can only get worse. And then how do you know they're making good, sound decisions for?
Does she have the actual, you know, mental and physical ability to tackle these huge problems that are plaguing the United States? Let me play this next audio clip. I'm going to step back here for a second. Here's an audio on John McCain and talking about him. This is a throwback. Let me cue this up here, Peggy.
From the point of view of a physician, every candidate for major political office owes to the electorate clear assurance that they're capable of satisfying the requirements of the job.
It's just a matter of when someone applies for a job like the presidency, you sacrifice a little bit of your privacy and you have to make that decision. You don't have to apply for the presidency, but if you do, then we're going to want to know how healthy you are.
And I suggest that we hold him to releasing the entirety of his medical records so we as the American people can make an informed choice as to his capacity to act.
Okay, this audio clip is about John McCain. So don't think it's on President Obama. This audio clip is about John McCain and the left attacking him about his age and his mental and physical status. And also, John McCain was a prisoner of war. So hats off to all the military and our veterans, and the utmost respect for John McCain for what he went through and him as a veteran. But let me continue on with the audio clip here, just so you know what this audio clip is about.
Actually satisfy the requirements of the job.
Senator McCain's medical records were released to a select group of journalists.
It's sort of a little bit of a different experience than I'm used to as a medical doctor. We're going to be sort of ensconced in this room for a period of time. No electronic devices are allowed in.
Over 1,000 pages of his own health records.
3 hours to review hundreds of pages of medical records. A daunting task, even for a doctor. No copies can be made of McCain's records. There's no internet or cell phone use allowed in the room.
He's running for the highest office in the land. His health, with limits, becomes the public business.
He's had every kind of skin cancer you can get, basal cell cancer, squamous cell cancer, and of course malignant melanoma.
There's so much we don't know about this illness, and it's so incredibly difficult to treat once it has recurred, that the relevance of knowing the details of his course with melanoma are very important.
Well, we're excited about a lot of the immunotherapies or vaccines for melanoma, but to date there's really still no good cure for melanoma once it's spread. So these are the survival curves of patients with melanoma over 15 years that were produced by the American Joint Committee on Cancer Staging. You can see on the bottom are the number of years, and on the side are the proportion of people surviving. So in the beginning, 100% of people are alive, but the more serious your melanoma is, the less chance you have of survival. And you can see stage 2 melanoma, which is what Senator McCain had, that there's about a 60% chance survival at 10 years, but it continues to trail off over 15 years.
Malignant melanoma strikes almost 63,000.
All right, so they go on and on and on about, he had a lot of other, physical conditions too. And then, I believe too that the media even brought up his mental condition from being a POW.
Which
at some point.
Has no, well, as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem to have any real relevance at this point. But
so how do you square? Because a lot of the left listeners, my friends and listeners out there, a lot of them are central and a lot of lean to the left or to the right. But the first thing they're going to say, how dare you bring up the physical and mental condition of our candidate Hillary Clinton? How do you square that, Peggy, with John McCain in the media talking about his mental and physical condition and all of his mental ailments?
Well, what's fair, there's an old saying, my parents used to use, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and
Right.
it just seems that if it's today, because, well, we do have a woman running for president, but, if they're going to question the health of an individual running for the presidency of the United States, then make sure everybody gets the same questionnaire. You can't just ask a few questions and then say, oh, it's okay, or tuck it away, or try to cover it up, or not even address it at all.
Right. So what is good for one Republican candidate should be good for all Republican candidates and all Democratic nominations and nominees.
Yes.
Including Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
But
fair,
You use this term fair.
Yeah.
And how we define it, this is interesting, is what we think is fair and how we've been trained and what's independent and fair has nothing to do with the left entertainment media.
This is true. This is true.
And can you imagine if Trump came out of an ER room for a broken finger or an arm or whatever? Oh my God! The media?
They'd be there.
They would push him down.
Sure.
Just to keep the story going more.
They'd break his other arm. Yeah.
So,
and then write a story about that.
Yeah. We didn't break his arm.
Yeah, sure.
What does it say? If it what's the saying with the media? If it bleeds,
if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Yes.
And but you are not going to hear about this on CNN News. You're not going to hear about this only if a lot of the other conservative talk shows start ringing some bells and creating a resonance effect. And but this is coming, folks. And I'm also, in the near future, in some next shows, I'm going to attack Hillary Clinton's foundation. It was about 3 months ago, Peggy. I predicted that emails were going to come out about her foundation and all the illegal activity.
Yeah.
And so that will be on another show at some point. So we got about 2-3 minutes left in the show.
Wow.
And so doesn't it fly?
It totally flies, and
Yeah.
we got so much to talk about because, oh my God, just 4 topics just came up for me,
Yeah.
just off the top of my head. So, yeah, with all this stuff. So, yeah.
But as a voter and as a woman,
Yes.
you know, these are concerns that you would have
Sure.
as a voter, and also, you know, myself, just as a voter as well, I want to make sure that, you know, whoever gets in, if it's Trump or, you know, the Libertarian Party or, you know, Hillary, whoever gets in, that they have the mental and physical stamina to do the job. And I can't imagine someone, you know, and this is all, you know, allegations. Nothing's for sure with Hillary, you know that. And, you know, and if I become number 6 person to die on Hillary's hit list,
Look out.
and that's
Yes.
another whole show. There's been like 5 or 6 people in the last, I don't
2
know,
years.
yeah, something like
Yes.
that have quote got murdered or passed away, and
Or
so
disappearing.
yeah, you know, this all of my shows are put out on YouTube. Just you know, search for Dave Mierswa, Mierswa, and you know, you can go back and hear this again with Peggy. So we got about 2 minutes, about a minute left in the show. So, what did you think about today's topic, Peggy? And you know, what did you think?
It's an excellent topic because, like I said, there are so many ways to go with this. I mean, yes, we want to make sure that the head of our country is in good enough shape to take us to the next level. I hope that we do get to the next level, no matter who our representative is. But this is great, you know, conversation piece for people to just kind of ponder and just maybe look a little further and do some research and say, wow, maybe there is more to this candidate, Hillary Clinton, than what we are presented through the media.
Yeah, well, you heard the DNC storyline, and there used to be a journalist up in Wisconsin, Paul Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to be on at 12 noon every day, and he would talk about one side of the story, and then he'd be, after break, the other side of the story.
Right, yeah.
And so this is the other side of the story.
Yes.
And again, you know, just allegations, but, you know, folks, go to YouTube and watch these videos. You know, whether you're on the left or right or center, it is interesting. And so I got about 30 seconds left in the show here, and I got to shut my trap.
Oh.
And Peggy, I got to shut your microphone down.
Darn it.
I'll be a little more sweet to you.
Okay.
just for the first 2 or 3 shows, and
There we
then
go.
razor blades come out. And but anyway, folks, if you liked today's show, tune in next Sunday, 12 noon. I'm going to be going over what happened in Milwaukee, and I'm going to talk to you from the straight facts, from the fiction, from the media. So you guys take care of yourself and your friends and family. And I'll be back next Sunday at 12 noon. And then I will invite Peggy to come back if she's not doing anything.
I think I'm okay. I think I'll be here.
Cool. All right,
Great.
guys.
Okay.
Thanks for coming on. Take care of yourself and your family and friends. Bye now.